Warning: the following video contains spoilers from AMC's The Walking Dead.
Hi, welcome to the show. They call me the Governor. Last week we all saw the soldiers of the kingdom fall. A terrible thing. Now this episode brought us back to when the king was first leaving the kingdom with his knights. And the man can give a hell of a speech. The "Yet I Smile" speech is going to rank right up there with "Ask not what your country can do for you." Though then we went from cheering to seeing the tragedy that befell his forces. As we hoped, as did those who sheltered him with their own bodies, King Ezekiel did survive. But as he stumbled from body to body trying to find any other survivors, I couldn't help but think that he needed to get away from them before they rose again. But it was too late. I could feel Ezekiel's pain somewhat when he was forced to fight his own subjects. Somewhat. I had a tendency to kill mine when they pissed me off. But wounded as he was outmatched. Until one survivor from his team jumped in. A noble act. Till he was shot in the back by Gunther, the savior who wanted to bag the king, so Negan would be impressed. This four-eyed geek wanted to get in with the cool kids. And like most geeks, being an expert on being bullied, he knew just how to bully someone. He said a lot of stuff to Ezekiel that was almost accurate. Except while he thought Ezekiel was a con man using a scam to save his own skin, the scam was actually to save others. So while Ezekiel was dealing with the serial killer wannabe, Carol had issues of her own. She managed to get into the building with the guns, though not in time to stop the slaughter. But being sneaky, she gave one group of saviors death from above. But before she could capitalize on that, more of those pesky pricks showed up. She stalked this group, but they were waiting for her. Anyone else, this would be the end. But not for Carol. She took one of those asshats hostage. Unfortunately, she didn't realize that getting taken hostage is against the rules when you're a savior. Or maybe she did know. She still managed to turn the tables by letting the biters in. Ezekiel and his captor ran into a snag with a little bit of a fence problem. So Gunther decided if he couldn't take the entire king with him, he'd settle for a head. I can understand that impulse. Though I could have told him that never works out. Jerry charged in and Gunther had to split, which is what happens when you get hit by a huge battle axe. You know, Jerry, he's a nice guy, but don't make him angry. You would not like him when he's angry. He unleashed the beast on Gunther, and when he tried to do the same thing to the lock that kept him the king from safety, it didn't work out. The locks and chains were too strong. So it seemed to be the end for our two heroes. Now Carol had gained the upper hand with the pair of saviors she left alive who were trying to get the guns away. But they were at a bit of an impasse until she noticed the plight of Ezekiel and Jerry. Of course, she saves them. Though I don't understand why she didn't just put a few bullets in the tires of the Savior's vehicle. It would have at least slowed them down, if not made them break down on the way to Sanctuary. But of course, Rick and Daryl showed up to save the day. After crazy chase and braving 50 caliber bullets, those two heroes stopped the truck, rather violently. For a moment, I hoped Rick had finally managed to get himself killed. But no. He came crawling back. Now, Carol and Jerry are busy dragging Ezekiel to safety, but he seems to want to give up. Give up being king, give up on living. Finally, after fighting their way through a toxic spill site filled with biters, Ezekiel tells them to leave him. He'll hold off the debt. Shouts at Jerry, telling him he's not his king. He's on the edge. Then the real tragedy strikes. Now, I realize in the comics, this is pretty much how it played out. But I had hopes that they would go a different way. After all, Carol is still alive. On the comics, she's dead as a doornail. But it wasn't to be. Shiva bravely attacked the biters, tossing them around for daring to threaten her friend. But I don't know if it was the fumes or just the numbers, but she was overwhelmed. The biters feasted. Such a noble beast, and the one character I truly wanted to survive. We all know I don't like Rick and Michonne for obvious reasons. But while I do have some admiration for Ezekiel, Jerry, Aaron, and quite a few others, I'd trade them all to keep Shiva safe. So Carol, Jerry, and Ezekiel make it back to the kingdom, where so few people are waiting for them. The kingdom's been devastated by their victory. They did win, but at quite a price. So next week we'll finally find out what happened to Father Gabriel. And maybe we might find out why Rick and a few others have taken up photography. That's quite the mystery. So until next week, in the meantime, keep watching for a montage dedicated to my favorite character, honoring her noble sacrifice. Governor out.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Here's a couple more I think you might enjoy. And don't forget to subscribe. Remember, those who subscribe survive.